Hey everybody, welcome back to Lore Friday. My name is DM Gallibond, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Canopic Being, which is the level 13 adventure from the Candlekeep Mysteries. Once again, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, click the post notification bell so that you get notified every time new content drops here on the channel. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this particular adventure for level 13 characters. Alright, the Canopic Being is an adventure where the PCs are trying to solve the mystery of a missing sage and a mysterious prophetic message concerning the PCs themselves. This adventure takes place in Candlekeep Library and the Temple of Savras in the city of Tashluta, which is located on the Cholton Peninsula. Now, the teaser for this one is that the first reader will come to the PCs and offer them 5,000 gold pieces if the party can return a missing sage named Mayastan Sadar to Candlekeep alive. And the reason that the first reader comes to the PCs is that there's a mysterious prophecy regarding the PCs themselves. So, something is leading people to believe that the PCs are already involved in this, whether they want to be or not. The Canopic Being is a strange book that has its covers and pages protected by thin crystal. The book was sent to the Candlekeep Library less than a year ago by a high priest of Savras in Tashluta. The book details the ritual of creating a mummy lord. Furthermore, it details how the mummy lord's organs can be transplanted into living hosts or sacrifices that allow the mummy lord to operate through them like some kind of macabre puppeteer. On the last page, a list of foreseen sacrifices is scrawled. The list contains the name of the missing sage, Mayastan Sadar, and also the names of 3 of the PCs in your adventuring party. The mummy lord in question here is Valan Sarnaster, who is an oracle for Savras in Tashluta. The oracle accepted undeath and underwent the ritual to become a mummy lord so she could continue her studies indefinitely. So far, so good. But the list of organ recipients includes 8 names in total, 4 names of persons unknown to Candlekeep, the name Mayastan Sadar, and the names of 3 of the PCs in the party. Those named have been foreseen in visions as the host for the Mummy Lord's organs. Now, to bring back Mayastan Sadar and to understand why their names are in the book, the PCs are going to have to travel to Tashluta. Alright, and the PCs travel to Tashluta and visit the Temple of Savras. There they meet with one of the senior clerics who tells them that the high priest has been missing for 8 months after entering a portal that leads to the domain of the Oracle of Savras. She explains the high priest has sent messages via the attendant of the Oracle that he plans to continue his studies indefinitely with the Oracle and there is no cause for concern. Since the Oracle's attendant makes regular transits through the portal, there has not been any cause for alarm. Oh, he says he wants to stay there, and the messenger keeps coming in and out, so it's obvious he could leave anytime he wanted. He must be okay. So, one potential hole in the plot of this particular adventure, and this is one thing that really jumped out at me when I was reading it, is that there's no guidance on how the PCs are supposed to access the portal. It tells us who has the keys, but there's really no listed method for gaining the key, and the party will have to improvise one. Or you, as the DM, will have to decide what conditions would make it possible for the party to gain this. Because it's implied that these keys and this portal are something that are very important and sacred to the people at these temple, so they're not just gonna hand them out to the party members like they're giving out tracts on prayers or something like that. There's going to be some reason that they would do that. And the way it's set up, there's not really any compelling reason written into the adventure of why the people who hold these keys would willingly give them up to the PCs. So you might have to come up with something like that and then give them a few hints about what they would have to do in order to get their hands on the key, short of overpowering and attacking and either knocking out or killing somebody who carries these keys. The DM's also told where the portal is, but no NPCs will tell the player where the portal is, so they're going to have to play detective. Depending on how persistent or experienced your players are, you may need to give them some hints or breadcrumbs to lead them to that portal. Well, once the players get through the portal, the tomb complex is detailed. There are some pretty cool traps and interesting features, including mirrors that deal psychic damage, as well as traps that deal necrotic and poison damage. Now, the toughest single creature in the entire adventure is the Oracle herself, who is a CR15 Mummy Lord. However, the toughest encounter in this adventure is against 3 of the Oracle's servants, who are all CR13 constructs. So, yeah, 3 CR13 constructs fighting against the party is a little bit more powerful than a single CR15 enemy. So there's a corpse in the temple that holds sheaves of parchment providing instructions for destroying the Mummy Lord and freeing her thralls that have been turned into these golems. Now, the final confrontation takes place in a gravity-free chamber, and there's a room where the PCs can see visions of events past or future play out on the walls. A DM could use this chamber to answer long-nagging questions in a campaign or foreshadow future campaign arcs. So you kind of want to probably give a little bit of thought about where your game is going, or if you're reaching sort of the end of your campaign with this adventure, then, thinking back to some memorable scenes and have those play out for the characters when and if they get into that chamber. Alternately, a DM can use this chamber to drop a piece of information that may not make sense now, but will be of vital importance later. So, you put this mysterious-looking flower in a vase, and that thing, and then a few levels later, they come along this thing, and they need some pollen. Oh, wait a minute, that flower that we saw, that's the kind of pollen we need. Let's go find some of those flowers. It could be something like that. Upon defeating the Mummy Lord, the treasure she has includes several very nice magic items. As an aside, the Mummy Lord may or may not, at the DM's discretion, have a James Bond villain moment where she explains her purpose and, does that whole evil villain soliloquy thing. The Mummy Lord sees this current transition as a first stage to displacing Savras as the demigod of fate, and ultimately wants to become a deity herself. So, she definitely is the kind of person that has the hubris that she might think she's more powerful and more invincible than she really is. The most common enemies in this are constructs, obviously, and the toughest encounter is against 3 Canopic golems. And a Canopic golem is what somebody becomes when one of their organs is exchanged for an organ of the Mummy Lord. Special creatures or items includes a new kind of powerful construct, the Canopic golem, which serves as a host for an organ of the Mummy Lord. Special items include a new staff, which is a staff of fate, and a new helm, which is the watchful helm. Now, they're both tier 3 or very rare items, and the staff grants a random number of uses of a bless-like effect until a recharge roll is 1 on a d20. The helm provides awareness of surrounding even in sleep, advantage on wisdom checks that rely on sight, and allows you to use see invisibility as the spell once per day. So now, what are my favorite elements of this adventure? Well, the oracle aspect of the Mummy Lord villain and her Chamber of Visions is pretty cool. As a DM, you could use this as a way to convey secrets or hints about future arcs of your campaign in a method that makes the players feel like they discovered it on their own. It would be very cool, sort of having an area like this that the players stumble into, and then they sort of have a, maybe for a brief period of time, they're shown images that they can maybe kind of cobble together and realize there's something foreshadowing a time to come, or that they are reflecting on a time past, and maybe there's a detail that becomes obvious to them in a past event that makes them realize, oh yeah, this is going to come back again. So something of that nature. The easiest homebrew adaptation, this could easily be dropped into an existing campaign where the Oracle Mummy Lord kicks off the final or penultimate arc of your campaign by revealing secret knowledge to the players. When they go to that Chamber of Secrets and they have these visions, there could be some pretty heavy foreshadowing or information that's going to be very important in the final arc of the campaign revealed there. In terms of using this with other divisions or other editions of the game, Mummy Lords have been around for a while. The golems and magic items are new, but they can be retrofitted into older editions with a little bit of work. Mainly work to make sure they're balanced right for whichever edition D&D you're playing. Okay, and that is going to do it for our look at the Canopic Being. Hope you've enjoyed this review, and hope that we will see you back here next time on Lore Friday. And please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, click the post notification bell so that you get notified every time new content drops. And have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.